Today I'll be giving you my first impressions and opinions on 10 viral Middle Eastern fragrances that have been really hyped up over the last few weeks, months. These are fragrances that have been making the rounds on social media, and I'm going to be giving you my unfiltered opinions about whether or not I think they're worth it and why. I have here 10 of these fragrances in decant/sample form, and I'm going to be sharing all 10 of them here with you, giving you the notes, giving you my honest thoughts, whether or not I'd actually get them myself and why. And at the end, I'll be giving you my top 3 fragrances from this entire video, telling you my unfiltered thoughts on which of these 10 fragrances I think personally would be worth it in my personal opinion. If this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I absolutely love fragrances. I talk about them here every single weekday, Monday through Friday. I also publish additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. And if you're interested in hearing more about what I have to say, you can definitely check out my podcast called The Fragrance Report. This podcast focuses mainly on fragrance history, so if you're interested in that, definitely do check that out on Spotify and here on YouTube. I launch a new episode every Wednesday. Now, if you're someone who is watching my channel on a regular basis, then you are no stranger to the fact that I am very mindful and very considerate about what fragrances enter my collection. My aim is not to have a gigantic collection of perfume. And quite frankly, since I've been doing fragrance videos on social media, I have almost by default started accumulating more fragrances. I am not in this to collect more fragrances just for the sake of collecting. I am in this hobby because I want to find fragrances that are really standouts to me. I want to find fragrances that I personally love. And that's why I try to avoid blind buying fragrances just for the sake of reviewing them. I would absolutely love to buy decants of things, and occasionally I do blind buy items, but for the most part, especially when it comes to some more like affordable viral scents that are really trending, I prefer to be a little bit more mindful and get decants of them instead of going for the full bottles themselves. So with that being said, I have here 10 decants. These are going to be my first impressions. Some of these I've managed to try a little bit more than others, so let's get into it. First up, let's talk about 2 fragrances from Paris Corner, Qissa Pink and Qissa Delicious. These are fragrances that have been around for quite some time, or they're not like super new, but then again, they're not like older classics in my opinion. These are fragrances that I have seen around social media, and I was curious about trying out both of them. So Qissa Pink is a fragrance that's vanilla and sweet. This is a gourmand perfume with top notes of coconut and apple, a mid of rose, violet, and jasmine, and then a base of vanilla, sugar, sandalwood, cedarwood, and patchouli. On the other hand, Qissa Delicious is a fragrance that is a perfume with top notes of whipped cream, dark chocolate, and orange, a mid of marshmallow, coconut, and jasmine, and then a base of vanilla and white musk. Both of these fragrances actually launched in 2024. Okay, so like if I'm thinking about both of these fragrances, because I've sprayed them both on these strips and they've had a chance to dry down. I have not worn these on skin. That's why a lot of this video is actually going to be first impressions, because I haven't managed to test all 10 of these fragrances on skin just yet, but stay tuned. I will be also doing updates on these fragrances as I get a chance to try them out some more. But I would say right off the bat, my ultimate favorite is Qissa Delicious. I think it's a beautiful, creamy gourmand. There's a hint of like tonicness to it, but it's not anything sour. I get where the marshmallow is coming from, but the marshmallow here is definitely not center stage. It's more of like a softer accent. So I mostly get the whipped cream. I get a little bit of the cocoa. I would say if you're looking for a fragrance that matches this kind of scent profile, this could be a really good contender for that purpose. I do get a little bit of creamy coconut, but it's nothing too overt. I really like this perfume, and if I had to choose between the two, Qissa Pink and Qissa Delicious, I would go for Qissa Delicious. That's where my taste is at right now. Qissa Pink, I like it. It's just giving me like that synthetic musk. And I think if you've tried enough affordable fragrances, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Not meaning to be snobbish at all, but when it comes to like some kind of affordable fragrances, sometimes you get like this kind of like synthetic, fruity, floral musk, and that's what I get with this. It's kind of like, I'm trying to explain it in the best way I can. That's what I get with this, and it's nice. It's not unpleasant, but it's also not something I would really pick up very often or want to smell like very often. It's nice. It's nothing too special. I would say out of the two, Qissa Delicious is definitely my favorite. If I didn't already have some fragrances in my collection that fit this profile, I'm talking about Lattafa's Nebras, I'm talking about Al Rehab's Chocolate Musk, then I would probably go for this. And I'm not saying that those fragrances smell exactly like this perfume. They really don't. But they kind of also do have like that powdery, creamy chocolate vibe that this is trying to emulate, and when it comes to that category, I'm all set. I don't really need any more options. The next one is definitely going to be one of the strongest fragrances in this entire video. I am, of course, talking about Batikh Watermelon by Aroma Concepts. Now, this is a perfume that I was extremely curious about because I think it was one of the first fragrances in the kind of like affordable Middle Eastern genre that really had this hero note of watermelon. It's a very watery, fruity, ozonic, aquatic fragrance with top notes of pear, tangerine, and cologne, and then a mid of watermelon, apple, strawberry, and rose, and then a base of musk and praline. Put it very simply, this perfume smells precisely like a watermelon Jolly Rancher. If you know, you know. A watermelon Jolly Rancher, it's a very strong fragrance. There is no going around that. This is definitely one of the strongest fragrances in this entire video. It's really not a fragrance that I would wear because I'm not looking for this kind of perfume. I think it's a little bit too sweet for me. It's a little bit too Jolly Rancher smelling. Like, I can say a fragrance smells nice, and this smells nice. It doesn't smell bad, but just know, just because a fragrance smells nice does not mean it's going to work for me and what I prefer, and this is not going to be a fragrance that aligns with my taste. But if you heard Watermelon Jolly Rancher and you like the sound of that, this could be a really good fragrance for you to try. However, it's just not for me. I finally got a chance to try some fragrances from Zimaya. I'm going to be spotlighting two perfumes from them, Tiramisu Caramel and Tiramisu Coco. It's kind of interesting how Tiramisu kind of like snuck in as one of those like gourmand fragrance trends that everyone started kind of going for to some degree. Both of these fragrances came out in 2024, and I like them. I already have something similar. I'm going to tell you what that is in just a moment. I think like in one of my videos, I forget who it was, and I don't want to look for the comment right now because I have to go somewhere after this. But someone actually had some really good feedback in one of my videos. They basically said like when you say something you have is already like something when you say you have something similar in your collection, do you mind telling us what it is? And I will try to do that. Sometimes if I'm like sitting here and talking about fragrances, for me, it's kind of like I already kind of can remember that I have something similar, but sometimes the name doesn't come to me very easily. But I'll do my best to kind of be very clear about what I have that's similar to a fragrance that I might be talking about. So moving forward, I'll try to do that. But anyway, let's go into the notes of these fragrances. So Tiramisu Coco is a perfume with top notes of amaretto coffee, a mid of ice cream, biscuit, and vanilla, and then a base of vanilla, brown sugar, and amber. And let's look at Tiramisu Caramel. It's interesting because with Tiramisu Coco, I think they're essentially trying to go for like cocoa, like chocolate, but I, just looking at the name, I thought they meant like coconut. So it's something to note. But the caramel version is a perfume with top notes of caramel, a mid of honey, coumarin, woody notes, and then a base of vanilla, whiskey, and musk. So I think both of them have like, both of these are compelling fragrances. They kind of do smell similar, not gonna lie. I don't think you need both. I don't think you need both at all. I would say Tiramisu Coco is a little bit of a softer, smoother, musky, like gourmand. And Tiramisu Caramel has a bit of a caramel pop to it. It's not like, it's still smooth and musky, but it's not going to be as like, it's a little bit more intense. It's not like loud, but these two fragrances are very similar. Tiramisu Coco is more like a cocoa, kind of like chocolatey musk, like a powdery, chocolatey, musky perfume. Tiramisu Caramel takes that, but adds like a little bit of caramel to make it a little bit more va-va-voom, I guess, shall we say. So, These two fragrances are pretty similar to something I already have in my collection, which happens to be Mon Tiramisu by Chabaud. Chabaud is a brand that I do have an affiliate partnership with. I have a code with them. It's Anya10. You can use it for 10% off pretty much their entire site. I already have Mon Tiramisu by them. I have it. I love it. It is the only tiramisu fragrance I need. It's the best one I've smelled so far. It's the best quality one. It's a perfect, like, kind of slightly boozy biscuit tiramisu scent, very photorealistic. I actually gave a friend a decant the other day, and she absolutely fell in love with it. She had absolutely no idea what the brand was, but she loved the way it smelled. I understand that is a bit more expensive. For me, I think it's okay, in my opinion, to spend a little bit more money on something if you're going to get a better product. And I will be completely transparent and say I actually did get, Mon Tiramisu in PR. No ifs, ands, buts about it. But I do prefer it. I don't really need another tiramisu scent. That one is all I need right now. That's where I'm at. I think those two smell nice. I don't need them in my collection. So next one is actually one that I found really compelling, and I was looking at the bottle. I think I was talking about when it first came out how it was like super opulent, and this is one of the more opulent bottles that I've seen from Middle Eastern brands, and I kind of like, this is kind of an opulence that I like. I know it's a little bit dramatic, but this is Afeef by Lattafa. This is a white floral, sweet, and woody scent with top notes of peach, pink pepper, and bergamot, and made of tuberose, jasmine, and orange blossom, and then a base of sandalwood, amber, praline, and patchouli. I actually really like this one. I like this a lot. I think a lot of times when it comes to like floral, like fruity florals that specifically focus on like white florals and peach, sometimes if a brand like leans too into the peach, it becomes a little bit redundant in my personal opinion. I think that this is a fresh, light, almost bubbly take on this. Not bubbly as in like effervescent. Well, maybe a little bit, but I definitely do get like a little bit of like that sparkling citrus, even in the dry down, because like, this is the dry down. I like it. It's smooth, it's pretty. Yeah, this is a good one. I like this a lot. I don't really think I have like anything that's like too similar to this in my collection already. If you like Mystique Bouquet by Afnan, but you want something lighter, more smooth, because Mystique Bouquet I love, but it's still a fragrance that commands the room, like that's a fragrance that's like heavier, it has a lot of sillage. This one is smoother, more subtle, a little bit understated, but still beautiful, and they're also very different fragrances, might I add. This one is way more focused on the woods and the florals. I really like this one a lot. It's one of my favorites so far. Next up, I have Cream Velvet by Khadlaj. I had heard a lot of really great things about this. This has top notes of butter and caramel, a mid of tonka, honey, and jasmine, and then a base of vanilla, amber, and musk. This perfume is most certainly the typical vanilla, musk, caramel. If you're looking for a Bianco Latte alternative, this definitely could be that, even though the notes don't necessarily veer towards that direction. I really do think that like one of the reasons why I am so like interested in trying all the different decants and trying all the different samples of like every kind of like affordable Middle Eastern fragrance that kind of piques my fancy is because the notes are one thing, but sometimes the execution is totally different. So just looking at the notes, I would have never thought this would be similar to Bianco Latte, but honestly, it kind of is. Like the Bianco Latte trend, okay? I think the Bianco Latte trend, this is kind of fitting into that. But like how Eclair by Lattafa is supposed to be like an alternative for Bianco Latte somewhat? I don't like it. You guys know this if you watch my channel. I'm not a fan of that fragrance, but I think this is better. Objectively, this is a better version of that. Eclair smells a little bit too cheap in my opinion. This is much better. It smells more refined. It's a slightly spiced vanilla, tonka-ish. It's like it's slightly spiced. Like maybe that's like a touch of that honey and jasmine, and I'm interpreting it as such, but yeah, this is really good. I like it. Is it for me? No, because I already have Vanilla Skin by Fleur. I have decants of Eclair. I have vanillas. If I want to get another vanilla, I can definitely consider that one. And at the moment, I don't really crave just linear vanilla fragrances anyway, so that's why this is kind of a pass. Okay, so next up is a fragrance that was super popular, and I was keen on trying it. This is by Lattafa. It's called Peace and Love, with top notes of blackcurrant, almond, and bergamot, a mid of rose and tuberose, and then a base of sandalwood, vanilla, and heliotrope. This is really pretty. It's really pretty. Yeah, I get the florals, I get the fruitiness of the blackcurrant. It's a sweet fragrance, but it's not too sweet. It definitely is more of like a floral fragrance, but in my opinion, it's kind of like a modern white floral. There's like a slight like honeyed sweetness to these. This smells lovely. It smells lovely, very nice. I originally, when I smelled this, I was like, yeah, this is one of my favorites, and I probably would consider buying this. But then I'm kind of like, again, I'm not trying to like, maybe I am trying to de-influence myself. I'm trying to de-influence myself because I don't want to like end up like living in a house full of perfume, or living in an apartment like that's like bursting at the seams with perfume. So sometimes I like have like these inner dialogues with myself to make sure that I'm only, you know, getting something if I actually really love it. And in this case, I really like it, but this is giving like everyday fragrance. And do I need another everyday fragrance? Probably not. I want something a little bit more unusual. That's what I'm getting at. It's nice. If you're looking for an everyday fragrance, it's like floral, that's not too sweet, that's really pretty. This is really good. I really like it. Probably not going to buy it though. This next one is Rose Noir by Ahmed al-Maghribi. If I'm mispronouncing it, I'm so sorry. But this is a powdery fragrance, which I smelled and I was like, yes, this is what I like. And, okay, this is top notes of jasmine, Sicilian orange, and ginger, amid powdery notes of vanilla bean and sea notes, and then a base of musk, cashmere, ambergris, and sandalwood. This is giving slightly spicy, slightly vintage-inspired musk, with some sandalwood, obviously. I like this a lot. If you like vintage-inspired fragrances, you will like this, and I personally love that. I love powdery fragrances. This isn't necessarily giving like a sweet kind of baby powderiness. That's not what I'm getting from this at all. This is really nice. I really like this a lot. It's up my alley. It's what I kind of like when it comes to my tastes. Yeah, this is really pretty. I'm gonna keep wearing this decant and update you. I really like this one a lot. This is kind of what I like, so I like this. So next up, I have saved arguably probably the best for last. This is possibly going to be the fragrance that I buy out of this entire video. If I use up this decant that I have of it, where is it? If I use up this decant, I'm going to buy this fragrance, full stop. This is Cloud Candy by Khadlaj, and this is a fragrance with top notes of strawberry, green tangerine, and freesia, amid a fluffy marshmallow, coconut, and whipped cream, and then a base of white musk, sugar, vanilla, raspberry, and ambroxan. This perfume is arguably an alternative for Yum Bougie Marshmallow by Kayali, and that scent, Yum Bougie Marshmallow, to be completely honest with you, was one of my favorite fragrances that I smelled in 2024. When it came out, I was like, it smells amazing. Like, this is the marshmallow, the photorealistic marshmallow that I've been looking for. It's not like just like an accent marshmallow. It is the literal strawberry marshmallow. But unfortunately, the perfume on me, it lasted like a body spray. And I feel so guilty for saying this because like I love Mona Katan as an entrepreneur. I love what she has been doing. She's such a role model for me. But I gotta be honest, like, I don't necessarily want to be paying, because if I love a scent that much, I want to buy like the largest size, right? And the largest size, like with tax and shipping, okay, let's just say I bought it in store. With tax and everything included, it's like $140. But I actually bought the big size. And I noticed that I was wearing it as if I was wearing it like a body spray. Like, I would put on 10, 15 honestly 20 sprays of it at a time. I was running through that thing like a body spray, and the price was not body spray. Like the price was a perfume price, but I was spraying it like a body spray because I was going nose blind to it. That was my issue. So the reason why I find like a dupe possibly like this tempting is because this does not cost as much as the Kayali version, and this still has a similar scent, and it's like a possibly a better alternative for me personally. So that's where my mind is at. Yeah. So I kind of feel like guilty saying that because I feel like Kayali is like one of the most beloved brands out there right now, but just because a brand is beloved and just because like they have like such a great relationship with like the general public doesn't mean I'm going to like do lip service just because everyone else is. Not to say that I'm deliberately trying to be like not the, like the other girls, not to say that at all, but my focus is really giving you guys like an open experience into like what my mindset is when it comes to making purchases, when it comes to fragrance, what I think about. And this is the kind of like unique, pretty scent profile that I want in my collection. But the original Young Bougie Marshmallow, like it just does not last on me. And so many people say it lasts on them. And I understand like that's their experience, but for me that is not my experience. I was going nose blind to it. Sometimes it would come up, but then like my nose would be like sniffing more because I wanted to like experience it more, but it would not resurface. It was like a whole thing. Not my favorite situation, so that's why I'm going to be looking at this as an alternative, possibly. Yeah, so I'm going to use up the decant. I'm going to see how it goes. I really like this a lot. This is really nice. I like this a lot. It smells pretty much exactly like Young Bougie Marshmallow. To my recollection, I really like this a lot. So, when it comes to top 3, okay, I would say this one's like easily my top favorite. I also really liked like Rose Noir. It just like popped out at me as something I really enjoyed. So I really liked that. And then I also really enjoyed Afeef. I really enjoyed Afeef. It's kind of like a light peachy floral, nothing too sweet. It's very pleasant. But I think like these are some solid options. There's nothing in here that I think I hate. And I do think that all these fragrances are great if you are looking... Okay, so not gonna lie, my camera battery just died. I just realized this. So I'm just gonna finish this video with audio only. But yeah, what I was saying before is I think all these fragrances are nice. But I do hope that my descriptions are helpful and detailed because I want you to be able to kind of like use my videos and use my reviews to make your own buying decisions. Not all these fragrances are going to be fragrances that I love, but I hope that you were able to find something in this video that you could possibly relate to. But that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful, and I'll see you next time. Bye!